This is my attempt at doing a dramatic reading of a Yu-Gi-Oh fanfic in the style of LittleKuriboh's brilliant Yu-Gi-Oh! The Abridged series. This fanfic is known as The Bullet by Yugi Yami Fangirl. As it is a yaoi fanfic, I'd just like to initially point out the pairings, which are Yugi and Yami, Atomu, who I believe is just another word for the pharaoh, Heiba, who, from what I can tell, is a character made up entirely for the purposes of fanfiction, Seto and Joey, Ryo Bakura and Yami Bakura, Marek and Malik, Taya and Tristan, Serenity and Mokuba. The summary. Yugi and Yami have been in a happy relationship for over almost 2 years. When a school shooting at Domino High occurs, Yugi is shot in the head and ends up in a coma. Everyone is afraid that Yugi is never going to wake up, especially Yami. When Yugi does wake up, everyone is relieved. There is just one problem. Yugi doesn't remember Yami at all. In fact, Yugi only remembers Taya, Heiba, and Grandpa. Now Yami is on a mission to win Yugi's heart again. Will Yami be able to win Yugi's heart again, despite a few people at school who want to win Yugi over for themselves? With a little help from his friends, Yami might just pull it off. Warnings: yaoi, violence, possible lemons later on. Disclaimer: I own nothing except the plot, something you possibly would not want to admit to. Chapter 1. Perfect Love. Yugi and Yami were sound asleep in their bed in the game shop. It was early in the morning and no one was up yet. After Yugi had won the ceremonial duel, Yami had been given the opportunity to remain in the realm of the living if he so wished. Yami decided to remain because he was in love with Yugi and didn't want to leave. The gods granted him his own body so that he could live with Yugi in Japan. Bakura and Marek, who were also in love with their Hikaris, were also given a chance to stay and were granted their own bodies as well, under the strict rule that they were not to use their shadow magic for any kind of take over the world plot. The two immediately agreed and were allowed to stay in the realm of the living as well. Surprisingly, Yami's younger brother from ancient Egypt, Atomu, was granted his own body as well because he died so young and was allowed to return to live out the life that was taken from him thousands of years before. Solomon had gladly taken Yami and Atomu into love with them, and he had easily accepted Yugi and Yami's relationship. Yugi's twin brother Heiba had decided he wanted to be closer to his brother and moved from Egypt to Domino to live with his brother and grandfather. Heiba took the fact that Yami and Atomu were living with them as well. He found himself falling for Atomu, and the two are now dating. Seto and Joey had finally stopped tap dancing around each other and admitted that they liked each other. Seto had asked Joey to move in with him to get away from his abusive father, and Joey did. Taya and Tristan had also gotten together. Mokuba and Serenity had also started dating, with their brother's full blessing. It had been almost 2 years since the ceremonial duel, and everyone was happy. "Boys, get up! You have school!" Solomon shouted up the stairs. Yami, being a light sleeper, woke up. He looked over at Yugi in his arms and smiled. Yami and Yugi shared a room and a bed, although they had yet to have sex. Yami did enjoy being near Yugi at all times, though. "Yugi, wake up, Aibu!" Yami said, gently shaking Yugi awake. Yugi opened his eyes and looked up into Yami's crimson ones. "What?" Yugi asked sleepily. "We have to get up and get ready for school," Yami said. "Oh, okay," Yugi replied. The two then got out of bed. "Whose turn is it to go and get Atomu and Heiba up?" Yugi asked. Yami scowled. "Mine," Yami said grudgingly. Yugi smiled. "Yami, it's not that bad," Yugi said. "That's easy for you to say. You weren't the one who walked in to find them both naked since the covers had been thrown into the floor," Yami said, shuddering as he remembered that morning a few weeks ago. He had shouted in surprise before running from the room with Atomu yelling at him. Yugi giggled. "Come on, Yami. You know that won't happen again," Yugi said. "Only because Heiba insisted on them dressing afterwards," Yami said. "True, he just doesn't want to get caught in that kind of situation again," Yugi said. He laughed. "Heiba and I may be complete opposites, but neither of us care for people to find us in that kind of situation," Yugi said. "Well, you won't find anything in that situation for a while," Yami said. "I know," Yugi said. "I'll go and get them up," Yami said, leaving the room. Yugi smiled. He knew that Yami hated having to get them up, but he and Yami had agreed, take turns getting them up in the morning for school. He then started getting ready for school.